And thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Senate Republicans released their highly anticipated health care bill this week, but as of now, there is a lot of uncertainty whether it will pass the Senate. Abigail Robertson brings us more now from Washington.
Protesters took action the minute Senate GOP leadership released their version of the health care bill.
No cuts to Medicaid!
Over 70 disabled people blocked Mitch McConnell's office, voicing strong opposition against Medicaid cuts in the proposed bill. Capitol Police first asked people to stop demonstrating, then began arresting and carrying away those who refused. Not many Republicans have strongly supported the bill as it stands, but they say it's a start.
I'm really glad we have a bill now to look at, and now the hard work starts, but it's a really good beginning to that process, and we need to move quickly because the Obamacare system is failing around us.
The pressure is on to get a repeal and replace bill passed as a growing number of insurance companies announce plans to pull out of Obamacare exchanges. Right now, some counties in Missouri, Ohio, Indiana, and Washington will have zero health care options in the Obamacare markets next year.
Obamacare is a direct attack on the middle class, and American families deserve better than its failing status quo.
In addition to Medicaid cuts, the bill's first draft includes ending Obamacare's penalties for individuals who do not enroll in a health care plan and defunding Planned Parenthood. It differs with the House version in a few places, such as providing income-based tax credits to give some financial support to people with lower incomes. The measure also does away with waivers that would allow insurance companies to raise premiums on people with pre-existing conditions. Democrats are strongly opposed to what Senator Mark Warner says shouldn't even be referred to as a health care bill.
For a long time, you had one side just say repeal, you had one side say don't change a word, and now we've got this effort that seems to be geared, it's more about, it appears at least, it's more about trying to say they repealed Obamacare than actually fixed health care, and I think that's disappointing.
Warner told CBN he wants to see both parties come together to fix health care.
I think a number of my Republican colleagues at least privately agree. I think they saw that, when the Democrats tried to write a big health care bill just with Democrats, it didn't end up being a very good policy. If they try to write it just with Republicans, I think they're going to have maybe a bad result.
With no Democratic support, Senate Republicans can only afford 2 votes against it, and there are already more than that. Senators Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, and Ron Johnson released a statement saying they are not ready to vote for the bill, but are open to negotiation. President Trump tweeted that he is very supportive of the Senate health care bill and looks forward to making it really special.
We will hopefully get something done, and it'll be something with heart and very meaningful.
Senate GOP leaders hope to bring the measure to the floor for a vote before the July 4th recess. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
The president has ended a month-long guessing game over whether he recorded his private conversations with former FBI Director James Comey. The president tweeted, "I did not make and do not have any such recordings." But he also acknowledged others could have made tapes without his knowledge. The president fired Comey back in May. The former FBI director was head of an investigation into Trump associates' ties with Russia. He recently told the Senate Intelligence Committee he believes his firing was related to the investigation, but also said the president did not ask him to end it. A temporary reprieve for some 100 Iraqi Christians in Detroit. A federal judge has halted deportation for 2 weeks. U.S. District Judge Mark Goldsmith says that will give him time to decide if his court has jurisdiction to hear the case. U.S. Immigration and Customs arrested the Iraqis earlier this month and said all have criminal convictions. The ACLU has been helping to defend them and says their lives are in danger if they return to Iraq.
Now, we're Christians. You're throwing us into a death trap.
We have no family there to help him. He has no home, no nothing. What are they going to do? Send him to be crucified? They can't do that.
Iraq recently agreed to receive Iraqi nationals who are U.S. deports. The U.S. Justice Department says the detainees must go to immigration court to try and remain in the U.S., but the ACLU says they might be deported before their case is heard. It wants the federal court to hear the case. Hurricane Cindy, now a tropical depression, produced a tornado in Fairfield, Alabama Thursday afternoon. It did some major damage to several businesses, and at least 4 people are hurt. The National Weather Center says the tornado had wind speeds of up to 135 miles an hour.
It just hit here in Fairfield. It was big, guys. It was really big.
The National Hurricane Center says the storm could bring up to 15 inches of rain in some places through Friday morning. It is expected to move into Tennessee late Friday. North Korea denies torturing the American student who died this week after being held in the country for more than a year. Otto Warmbier was released from a North Korean prison in a coma. He died days later. His family blames North Korea for his condition. In an article published by Korean Central News Agency, North Korea insists they treated him according to international standards and says the country is, quote, the biggest victim in the death of Otto Warmbier. His family did not want an autopsy. And on Thursday morning, his hometown mourned and buried him. CBN's national security correspondent Eric Rosales has more on his funeral and the United States' attempt to put more pressure on China to rein in the North Korean dictator.
A community remembering one of their own, an American college student kept in a North Korean prison for 17 months. The funeral service was held in Otto Warmbier's high school in Ohio, where he served as salutatorian of his 2013 graduating class.
Our storyline has included something incredible. As a group, we're stronger than anything right now.
The dreams of a young man destroyed by dubious charges from a ruthless regime.
Please save my life. Please think of my family.
No media were allowed inside the Wyoming high school gym, but Warmbier's parents released these photos. Precious memories of their late son laid neatly on a table, his phone, passport, notebook, even the blazer he wore during his trip to North Korea. President Trump did not attend the funeral, but has blasted Warmbier's death as, quote, a total disgrace. Meanwhile, the Trump administration continues to work closely with Chinese officials in high-level meetings to find solutions to the North Korea threat.
The most acute threat in the region today is posed by the DPRK. We both call for complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
I would point out to you that China's end state on the Korean Peninsula in terms of nuclear weapons is the same as ours, and we continue to work towards that end state.
As the United States urges China to exert great pressure on North Korea, U.S. spy satellites have detected new activity around the regime's known nuclear test site, leading to speculation Pyongyang may be getting ready to conduct yet another round of missile tests. Eric Rosales, CBN News, Washington.
Still ahead here on CBN NewsWatch, he was a paratrooper who captured the old city and then later the CEO who built a modern nation. Scott Ross sits down with Israeli hero Arik Akmon. We'll be back. Arik Akmon is one of Israel's heroes in the Six-Day War who's been seen in our CBN film In Our Hands, The Battle for Jerusalem. But his contributions to his country didn't stop there. After the war, Akmon also played a huge role in helping Israel develop its modern economy. Scott Ross brings us this remarkable story.
Arik Akmon was the chief intelligence officer for the 55th Paratrooper Brigade during the Six-Day War.
I have exactly 10 hours to prepare a unit to war. Usually, to make our operation in Jerusalem, you need about 40 hours. It's a craziness. For an intelligence officer to El Arish, we have 3 weeks. Here, 10 hours.
As one of the soldiers who reunited Jerusalem, Akmon was honored at the Jerusalem premiere of the CBN docudrama In Our Hands, The Battle for Jerusalem. I talked with Achmon at his Tel Aviv home about the war and his life. When you entered the city for the first time in, a millennium, how did that feel to you? I mean, that was an absolute historic moment.
I was very busy. We was after 3 days of very, very hard fight. Basically, I do not think about history. I was thinking about doing our job. But I must tell you that when we, the two of us, and with us 10 comrades of the commanding unit of the brigade, came to the mount, that was the first time I feel that I have participated in something special. But to say the truth, I was very sad.
Why?
Because 95 of our comrades dead in this fight. The mixture of these two feelings is living in me until today.
And that was only the beginning of Achmon's contribution to Israel.
Arik Achmon, who was one of the first Israeli paratroopers into the Old City in 1967, and actually led the crossing of the Suez Canal in the Yom Kippur War of 1973.
Author Yossi Klein Halevi wrote about Achmon in his 6-day war book, Like Dreamers. He told me how Achmon played the role of hero more than once.
Now, you talk about the transformation of Israel from an agrarian society to a high-tech superpower. And Arik Achmon, the guy who led the crossing of the canal, starts off as a boy living on one of these radical socialist kibbutzim, little agrarian settlement. He leaves the kibbutz and ends up becoming the CEO of Israel's domestic airline. Israel's economy was socialist in those years. He fights the trade unions, and he creates the first privatized company in the state of Israel and opens the way to the high-tech free economy that we have today. So for me, Arik Achmon is a multiple hero.
While Achmon left the kibbutz at age 40, he never forgot what he learned there.
Until today, I think the kibbutzim built Israel.
Where did you get the vision to move beyond kibbutzim life into a broader economy and developing beyond just the socialist idea?
My values is still there in the kibbutz. I believe in free economy that mingled with a social responsibility. Money is very, very, very important things, but not all. It's values that more important than money.
If the economy hadn't changed to a free economy, do you think that Israel would have survived?
I think that the Israeli economy is a miracle. In such extreme circumstances, to be one of the leading economies in the world.
For Achmon, even with Israel's great development, he's troubled by divisions among his people. What about your enemies who don't think you have a right to exist?
The enemies is enemies. We're strong enough to look after ourselves. The enemy of Israel is in us, inside us, not outside.
The future for this country now. You were a man of vision. You've been a man of vision. What's your vision for Israel now?
I believe in the eternity of the Jewish people. We have to get over this conflict and believe in it. I'm not sure that I will live until this day, but I believe in it. We will overcome.
Scott Ross for CBN News in Tel Aviv.
Up next, fighting for family-friendly entertainment. Hear why Sony is shutting down a move that would have provided cleaner versions of its films. The fight to filter films for profanity and questionable content is heating up. Earlier this month, Sony Pictures announced plans for the Clean Version Initiative. Sony provided edited versions of certain films on streaming services like Vudu and iTunes, but the Clean Versions project didn't last very long. A group of filmmakers took issue with it, and Sony backed down and shut down the service. Joining me now to weigh in is Movie Guide's director, Ted Baer. So why petition Sony's move?
We're petitioning because, you know, all the people out there can make a difference. We've seen this before. And this is a positive petition. We just want Sony to make more money by doing streaming 2 versions of Spider-Man, which is a good film that we gave an award to. One version without the 2 or 3 F words, and the other version, they can do whatever they want. You know, I prefer that none of them had it, but I've been in the industry for 71 years, so I don't think they need it.
We're seeing a battle play out with the makers of VidAngel, them fighting with Disney over this same issue, essentially. Why are they taking issue with these cleaner versions of their movies?
The directors and the writers, and, you know, Barry Reardon said there may be 1,800 people you have to deal with on a film that they think that they're artists. So on one hand, people think that they're artists. And of course, we know you doing this interview, you're an artist. And on the other hand, the studio thinks we're making money. This is the entertainment industry. It's not the entertainment art. So there's a bifurcation. There's a division between the desires of the studios and the artists. And VidAngel actually is probably forcing the issue. By doing what they're doing, they're probably driving not just Sony, but everybody else to consider, how can we countermand what VidAngel's doing, because VidAngel is relying on established law.
What do you say in terms of my right as a consumer to watch a film the way I choose to if I'm going to purchase it?
Well, that's exactly what the government has said several different times. I mean, the first time it was a Sony picture case, Sony again, and they had said, you know, once you buy a video, they still had the rights to control what you did to it. And the Supreme Court decided, once you buy the video, you can use it to put your coffee cup on. You can use it as a Pluto platter. You can use it to put your plants on it. It's yours. So once you bought it, it was yours. And that is the established law. And that was the law that several groups have used to try to clean them up and say, you buy it, you clean it up according to your specifications, and then it's yours. You can do whatever you want, and then you sell it back to us. So that's been the theory working off the Sony picture case. You're the consumer. Once you bought your house, but you know, we've encroached on that in almost every other field. So as an attorney, once upon a time, who doesn't practice law, it's incredibly disturbing that the ownership issue has come into question here.
Real quick, what do you think this means for Sony's bottom line, this move to back away from the cleaner versions?
You have to say, like Mark Twain, that the evidence of my demise is wrong, because this is not going to go away. This is not an issue that's going to disappear. The studios need those income streams. I think it's not going to come up until the unions start to get a little bit more open to it. But I think you're going to see some cracks in all of the trade unions about this. I think you're going to see some changes, and I'm not sure it's all over until the fat lady sings, and I don't even know who she is.
Dr. Baer, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the work that Movie Guide is doing. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Looking for some family-friendly entertainment this weekend? We've got a helpful movie review from our friends at Plugged In Online. This week, they check out Transformers: The Last Knight.
100 billion trillion planets in the cosmos. You want to know, don't you? Why they keep coming here.
In the movie Transformers: The Last Knight, Earth has become a key battleground in a massive war between humans and robot warriors.
These are troubled times. Without leaders, chaos reigns.
But there's no Autobot Optimus Prime to rely on to defend humans this go-around. In fact, that robo-hero has been turned to the bad bot side. Instead, humankind needs to look to a hidden history of Transformers to find some secreted-away clue for its salvation. Junkyard owner Cade Yeager must join forces with an elderly English lord, a pretty Oxford professor, and a few stalwart Transformers. And together, this unlikely team just might be able to find the fortitude and the right superweapon to keep all of humanity from the brink of extinction. These Michael Bay-directed Transformer films have always been high-strung affairs. They're famous for tons of frenetic action and big-budget CGI. This fifth Transformer flick somehow kicks that formula up another notch. But the result is a spewed stream of explosive images, an onslaught of surprisingly foul language, and a tumbling storyline that's nearly incomprehensible. There's 2.5 hours of frenzied shape-shifting war in a movie that never quite transforms itself into anything worth watching. So I'm giving Transformers: The Last Knight a mere 2 ripped-off robo-heads out of 5 for family friendliness. For an in-depth review of this film or anything else at your local box office, visit us at PluggedIn.com. Plugging you into the movies, I'm Cheryl Wilhelmi from Focus on the Family's Plugged In Movie Review.
All right. Well, it is time now for your Friday Faithful, and I pray this message will bless your day and the weekend that lies ahead. Remember this: God has given you the measure of grace to sustain you through any joy, pain, or challenge you face. Simply do not let the circumstance blind you from seeing the promise. With that word, be sure to make this a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about always at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a fabulous Friday, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you right back here come Monday.